My guest today is astronomer and astrophysicist Dr. Hugh Ross, and today we're going to jump off from where we were last week, where we showed the universe has a beginning, a start. The scientists didn't always want to come to that conclusion, but they were forced by the evidence to admit that the universe had a start, a beginning. And it was relatively recent ago in terms of time in the universe. For example, you say that stars, Hugh, could burn 80 billion years. But the fact is, you've also said that the universe is only 13.8 billion years old. So something had to start it. Something has to give here. And that's what we're talking about. What did God do, and what did God say in Scripture? Now let's take them back to the very first verse. You have this amazing statement, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the Hebrew linguists tell us that where the verb is at, where it's placed in the sentence, tells us a lot about what's going on here. Talk to that.
Yeah, the placement of the Hebrew verb in the sentence tells you whether or not you're getting a time-ordered sequence. And we're seeing in Genesis 1:1 through to 1:3 is that, yes, the universe is created first, then the earth is formed, and then we move into creation day one. So we're actually taking the whole point through time in a very purposeful way.
Then you notice when you came to verse 2 that all of a sudden the shift came in terms of the vantage point of the one that was talking. You come from the whole heavens to the earth, and it says this: now the earth was formless and empty, darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. What are the four things you find there?
Well, it begins by saying it's empty and unfit. In what context? Well, the rest of the chapter is talking about life. So I interpreted that it was empty of life and it was unfit for life. Water covered the whole surface of the earth, and it was dark on the surface of the waters, and that God was going to tell us what's taking place in the 6 days from the point of view of an observer on the surface of the waters of planet Earth.
I find it interesting that when you were a non-Christian reading this, the current scientific viewpoint at that spot was that the earth was never all covered with water, but
Right.
that came into being later on. Talk about that.
Well, I had the advantage of taking classes at the University of British Columbia from the individuals who are responsible for launching plate tectonics. And it's plate tectonics that tells us that the earth indeed begins with a universal ocean, and then gradually continents form. And so that vindicated to me my understanding of what Genesis 1 was saying when I was reading it for the first time at age 17.